iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
Simply put, this is one of the greatest all-around circuits that you can find for battling in the world. This has been a place which has been a staple of racing for a number of years and has had many a memorable moment. 2008, for example, Lewis Hamilton's first championship and the immortal line said by Martin Brundle of "Is that Glock?" You have many great races like the 2012 race where Sebastian Vettel had a spin, turn 4, ran himself all the way back through the field to just enough to pick up the crown over Fernando Alonso in his Ferrari. Every single battle, every single moment that has gone around this place, stretching all the way back to legends like Ayrton Senna, has been fought around this wonderful track, which even today, when we have an era of highly aero-dependent machines, difficult overtaking places, this truly proves to be a track where that all goes out the window. You can battle here. You can race aggressively here. This is why Interlagos today, round 2 of your iRacing Grand Prix Series, is a staple forevermore when it is associated with these styles of cars. Welcome to SimSpeed TV, be it Facebook, be it YouTube. My name's Jake Sperry. Joining alongside me for the ride is Jay Kennedy as we get ourselves in towards qualifying action then here today as we take ourselves maybe in a little bit with a move on forward. Let's take a look at where we are today. Down in towards Sao Paulo, Brazil. Rio de Janeiro, not a million miles away, as we are not a million miles from the coast either. But Jay, this is truly a unique circuit. It's effectively like racing in a bowl, so to speak, but a very hilly bowl with a lot of obstacles to get around.
Yeah, on paper it looks like a fairly simple circuit, just doesn't show the true character of the track though when you look at the track map because of the elevation changes throughout the circuit as well. It's a brilliant circuit. And very, very lucky that we've got this in iRacing. It took a long time for us to get it, but once we did get it, it's been a staple of this series and many, many more. We were here not that long ago. Of course, it was the final round of last season's championship. And that was a brilliant race then. We're going to see another very, very interesting race tonight with a few drivers that are looking for a little bit of redemption from that race last season, and other drivers that are looking to perform a little bit better than we saw last week at Barcelona, as well as capitalize on a good result last week at Barcelona. This is going to be a very, very interesting one.
It certainly will be, and we've seen how this championship has been won over the last couple of seasons by one driver standing out above everyone else. I don't think that's going to be the case this season. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to get things correct on this 4.3 kilometer anti-clockwise circuit, which really does make a lot of things very, very tough to go and get correct. Currently, though, qualifying is underway. There are 20 drivers here today, all looking to put as many points as possible on the books. And as I look out at qualifying, Jay, at this moment in time, every single driver in this field has decided they wanted to start today on the soft compound tyres, the red walls you can see as the faux 08 McLaren makes its charge up towards these very, very fast riders. Matt Wood goes fastest.
Yeah, we're hearing from drivers that it appears that we'll see 2 stops and everyone will go soft in their stops. Maybe some drivers in the mid-pack that try medium in the mid-phase. Maybe some drivers at the rear that try or that don't qualify in a position that they would be happy with or feel like they haven't qualified as well as they should have. They'll potentially go for a 1 stop and try and stretch a medium out. The hard was also talked about as a potential option, but it appears that won't happen. So soft is the ultimate goal for most of the drivers. That will be the key strategy play. We just see Andreas Nielsen cross the line, but his lap doesn't count. Cedric Beal is about to cross the line. He's looking very, very quick on this lap.
He's going to make this charge to the line, and it's a 109.656. It's good enough then to move to 4th position. Then with that time, jumping up ahead of Kent Nielsen there. So a very nice bit of work. Troubles already in qualifying for Jinsei Yuk. The server has disconnected for him. It will be a very, very, I would say, nervy 2 minutes and 25 seconds left to get himself out there. He won't be able at this stage to go out and set the flying time unless he is absolutely rapid, as we look at John Pat Kelly navigating his way through the middle sector, down the hill through Mahulo. Such a brave, committed corner it is before you use the junction, Junsao, which leads back up the hill for this very, very fabled run through Arquibancadas and Esquida dos Boxes. But, you know, put a time on the board, see where you stack up. You know, 1:11.5's the worst time on the board so far. John Pat Kelly easily beats that to a 1:10.6, which is good enough for 14th place on the grid right now.
Yeah, and he's still got 1 more lap to go as well. Jan Straczynski, the other driver that has a lap in hand. Andreas Nielsen actually did not get either of his laps to count, so those 2 drivers there that haven't done laps. Straczynski crosses the line. Lap counts, goes to 11th. Very, very good lap from him. This is the last lap we're going to see in qualifying from John Pat Kelly. Track all to himself.
Why not? All to yourself. Showtime. Make sure that you got exactly what you came for, which is some good pace through this middle sector. You can see a 10.6 the best. 109.2 is the fastest time overall around this place. These laps go incredibly quickly around this track, and it really does show the development of these machines that they can run so quickly up the hill through this run, getting nice and neat. Sayuk back in session now, so has about 50 seconds, won't be able to get a time. We'll have to start from 19th due to I-rating then, as John Pat Kelly makes the run to the line, improves to a 10.222. Well, lucky numbers indeed. Bumps down Jan Straczynski moves to 11th place. So some good qualifying then in the mix, and we can say without a shadow of a doubt it is Matt Wood who puts the car on pole position then with a 109.242 and is joined alongside by the American Thomas Bartosik there alongside. Then on the second row, great qualifying from Klaus Siemens. They're up in third with Cedric Beale in fourth position. Kent Nielsen starts fifth with Reynaldo Augusto, home soil for the F1 apps machine there in P number 6. Seventh will go to another Brazilian. That is Bruno Canavas with Tamashene there in 8th position. Yuri Beoja then is in 9th position, the Swiss driver. The flag is definitely a big plus. And Philip Yates rounding out then the top 10. Last two drivers out on circuit trying to set times. They both have row 6 on the grid. John Pat Kelly just edging out Jan Stratinsky there in terms of that effort, with Oshin Richards and Adam Webb on row 7, an all-club UK and Ireland affair. Hiroyuki Sekiguchi then will go from 15th, with Cengiz Kagashas then in 16th position, with Anish Mehta and Jonathan Oshalin then 17th and 18th. And the last two times to put on the board, not times at all, you got Jin Se-yuk there in position number 19 starting, and then rounding out the top 20 will be the Swedish driver Andreas Nilsson getting things ready for action. 47 laps, 2/3 of an official Formula 1 race distance, and we're expecting 2 stops here today. Track temperatures, well, they are a little bit low for this place. 28 degrees, winds coming in from the east at 11 kilometers an hour, so I would say fairly average to strong winds that we are experiencing here today, but a stern challenge nevertheless. We always say at Interlagos, watch out for the drivers from the 3rd row on backwards. They have an easier time of acceleration because they get to accelerate from a flat level compared to the uphill stance that the drivers on the front 2 rows of the grid will have to do. Waiting on Thomas Bartosic then to get things ready before we can get ourselves going. He is on the grid. Se-yuk is the only driver on the medium compound tyre. Keep that in mind as this race goes through. 47 laps then. Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. It will start right now. And it's a slow getaway there for Klaus Siemens from 3rd on the grid. He bogged down with Nielsen. He's been immediately swarmed. Bartosic challenging into turn number 1 then as they go through. And side by side, it is for 3rd place as well, as Kent Nielsen and Cedric Beale fighting out. The top 2 have gotten well away at this stage. No DRS in the early goings. Wood going defensive. They all make this charge down towards the skid of the Lago for the very first time. And on the outside, can't be done yet by Bartosic.
Yeah, but still side by side, Beale and Nielsen and Ronaldo Augusto just happy and content sitting back and watching these two go at it. Still side by side for that battle for 3rd. This is a great little fight early on, and Augusto, what a seat he's got to watch this battle go on.
Box seat, through they go again, through
still
the left as they try and get through. Adam Webb on the radio then trying to make sure that he's okay, but it's finally sorted out with Cedric Beale nicely sorted into position, so no arguments there off of that get-go. Top 2 have checked out. Bartosic and Wood are the 2 up at the very front of this field, and they'll be looking for a really strong run over the course of this race. And I have been keeping an eye out on who's been making good progress. I'll tell you what, Jin Se-yuk's already up with John Pat Kelly, so good work from Jin at this moment in time. As you can see, he's immediately trying to challenge for this P12. They're side by side in front.
Yeah, just in front there, Philip Yates just lost a spot. He's dropped down one, but the battle at the front, how good is this from these two? They've already pulled 2 seconds on the field and they're having an intense battle. We don't often see that. When you see 2 drivers battle as hard as what we're seeing here at the front, they usually bring the pack behind. But I guess the advantage they've had is Kent Nielsen and Cedric Beale were battling just as hard, if not a little bit harder than the front 2 were.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, because Cedric Beale had to fight for half a lap to get that 3rd place, or not get that 3rd place as it turns out, because Kent Nielsen has that. So ultimately, a very tough battleground we find ourselves at today. This is one of the very few tracks you could say in the world as well here, Jay, that you can go too wide to almost every corner. Yeah,
exactly right. It's not too often that we can say that around a circuit, especially in the McLaren MP430, because they don't like being in intense battles, do they? They do seem to not cope as well with side draft as much as other cars. So to see such amounts of side-by-side as a battle for sixth going on between Siemens, Jane and Canavas. And, oh, this is going to keep going. Damasceno trying to get this spot back that he just lost to Klaus Siemens.
Yeah, DRS activation open on lap 3, but wide goes Siemens, and Canavas trying to go down the inside. Very nearly contact there with one Mr. Damasceno, and ultimately Canavas picks up a place because of the fact that everyone outbroke themselves. They all looked for the battle, and look at Canavas trying to be aggressive down the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact there with Klaus Siemens, and all of a sudden everybody has to try and find their place. I think Yates has stolen the place for the moment. Adam Webb still fighting on the inside here, trying to get through, and Sayuk's got 2 for 1.
Nice move, Sayuk, but yeah, have a look at the slow there. Is it a slowdown there for Siemens, or is it damage? He's very slow.
I wonder if it's damage, because I want to have a look. There is a little bit of trouble then for Klaus Siemens, and you can see heavy amounts of right hand down. That'll be a dive into the pits, and if it's suspension damage, that's game over.
Yeah, exactly right. That's not able to be repaired in time in these races, so that's unfortunate. Philip Yates doing a very good job. But Sayuk up 9 spots. It's unfortunate for him, because imagine what we would have been seeing if he actually was able to qualify. Of course, for some reason the overlays are showing that he started in 4th. We know that that's not true. He started in 19th, but he is now up into the top 10. That has not taken very long from the rear of the field to get himself into the top 10, as there's a car off the circuit there. Ossian Richards running off the circuit. He's already a lap down, unfortunately for him. Has been in the pits already in this race. 43 seconds stop. So he's had damage on lap 1.
Certainly has. It was lap 2 he came down into the pits, so that would pretty much indicate that. But just looking at his race, he hasn't had a quote-unquote big moment out there. In fact, no, he did on lap 1. Richards came together with Kagashus and Stratinsky at turn 4 on the opening lap. That's where all the damage came in, as we are on board with Yuri Bioja there at this moment in time. The checkered flag on his helmet then as he makes his charge, currently in 11th position at this moment in time. It seems like the graphics are saying that whatever number they've got in server is where their starting position is. That is a lie in this one at the moment, as Sayuk and also Bioja look to challenge against Yates at this point in time. Gap at the front, 0.8 of a second then between Matt Wood and Co. as we focus on this mid-pack scrap going on at the moment with Kagashus at this moment in time. Behind him, Andreas Nielsen trying to get through. In front of that, Hiroyuki Sekiguchi.
Sekiguchi has a very big pack of cars, and actually catching up to Maida and Stratinsky as well, but Kagashus almost thought about throwing it up the inside there, but wasn't quite able to do it. Also seeing Klaus Siemens has come back into the pits again, so he did get out there and has come back in for another stop. It's unfortunate for him.
The way the cookie crumbles, a poor start to this race, and it compounded some errors going on forward here in this one. Up the charge we go, over towards the start-finish line, and this is where you see overtakes happen. Kagashus all over the back of Sekiguchi, down the inside into one, locks up the front and goes in deep. Sekiguchi now can try and attack around the outside, almost no room at the end, got caught up on the curve, and suddenly here will come the chance for Andreas Nielsen. DRS will be wide open here for this chance, as it will be a look to the outside potentially, but it's nicely covered on the inside by Sekiguchi. Not much that Nielsen could have done in that situation. He tried.
Definitely tried, but you're right, the door was very quickly closed, wasn't it? And sneaky little bit of driving there for Kagashus, just to chop the nose off a little bit, and Sekiguchi had to get out of the throttle a little bit there, which left that potential move open for Andreas Nielsen. At the front of the field, we're not missing anything. It's very nose to tail at the moment. This is where all the action is. And this is what we see almost each and every week in this series, isn't it? If it's not a battle at the front, there is an intense battle at the rear of the field with drivers that are probably out of position just based on where they've qualified. Very evenly matched in pace back in the later stages of this field.
I completely agree. Everywhere you look, there's a battle, and the battle will continue as Nielsen now looks to try and make that charge against Sekiguchi towards turn number 1. And again, isn't going to be quite in position to make that happen. Sakaguchi was within 1 second of the car in front, and so DRS effectively, as a construct of artificial overtaking, gets negated. Again, right up behind, both drivers with that DRS flap wide open on the rear wing. They can only use that through the activated DRS zones here. There are 2 on this circuit, but up the hill, no DRS. Let's try 2 wide, 2 deep, shall we? Some Noah's Ark sim racing in full effect here as they go through, with Andreas Nielsen still unable to get past Sakaguchi as Anish Mehta loses out to Kagashus.
Yep, Maida drops back to position 15, just ahead as well. Shayuk's medium compound tyres may be starting to struggle a little bit. The softs starting to come into their own a little bit more now, because this battle for 10th is starting to get a little heated. Well, actually for 9th, because Philip Yates is in this as well. So these 3 cars are all separated by under a second, but this is the closest battle right at this very moment.
Very much is.
Trying to hold on.
Trying to hold on indeed. The Ferrari holding off everything at this stage. We look a little bit further forward, it seems, at this time. Now, this is a virtual racing school replay, ladies and gentlemen, between Tamas Shane and Adam Webb. And this is Adam Webb trying to get the move done in towards turn number 1. Goes around the outside the center S, back to the inside, but then you get that drive going through because you reach flat quicker through that outside line there of turn number 2, and then just like that, the Curva de Sol is all Shane's in the battle going on for 7th and 8th position, as is this battle right now for 4th and 5th. Reynaldo Augusto, home circuit, virtual home soil. You get 2/10 of an advantage, apparently, according to one Australian that did World Championships once upon a time. Hi, Jonathan Simon. Hope the podcast's doing all okay. But Cedric Beale right now is in full defensive mode, has lost 2 seconds over the course of these opening 10 laps to Kent Nielsen.
Yeah, Kent Nielsen, I think we've said it every week for the last month and a half, that he's impressing us more and more each and every time he gets out on the circuit. He's just done a brilliant job of getting clear of these guys. And, you know, a few months ago, we would have seen him behind these guys and not able to keep with them. Now he's pulling away from them. And last lap by, he was the 2nd fastest car on track. So Kent Nielsen definitely has found something over the last little while, whether it's confidence or something in the way the car's set up that's suiting his style, or just he's changed his style a little bit, but he's doing a great job. And this battle between Beale and Augusto, while it's a great battle, they're not able to match the car ahead of Kent Nielsen as well as Bartosic and Wood. It means that these two are going to have to fight for the scraps now.
Definitely does mean they'll be fighting for scraps, and every point is a scrap from this point onwards. I do need to point out as well that Andreas Nielsen has got through on Hiroyuki Sakaguchi and did so on the last lap. So that is a change for position right now as we take that focus up through Arki Bankadas, through to Skidados boxes and over to the line. Has been a little change from the iRacing scan compared to the real world as well, Jay. That pit lane is a lot more easier to get into now, and of course the track had a repave as well only a couple years after this circuit was brought to the system, and just like that, the track instantly gained an extra second in terms of pace.
Yeah, exactly right. It's definitely not the most up-to-date scan. Of course, there are a lot of interesting issues around the scan of this circuit. Of course, iRacing flew their equipment down to scan the circuit, and it was taken by customs. So it took a long time for us to get this track. There was a lot of talk that we would never get it, even though we're trying to get the data and source the data. Of course, that played issues, and then once we finally got it, what a track it's been for the iRacing service. So incredible circuit, incredibly fun track, and I don't think we've seen a race at this circuit that hasn't been brilliant in one way or another. It just naturally provides great racing, and that's what we love about good quality circuits. Doesn't matter whether you're racing a Formula 1 style car or an MX-5. If the track is good, it will provide good racing, and you can't manufacture that. It all comes down to a great circuit. Great circuits breed great racing.
I've just caught an eye on Thomas Bartosic and why he's dropped back. He made a mistake on lap 9, dropped himself a second into the Laranjina corner, and then he's done another 112 flat on that 9th lap of the race. So Clearly struggling now is Bartosic a little bit. Has responded with an 11-7 in kind, but, you know, he's just completely let the pressure go as Yates here is about to lose 2 places and has done. Through goes Sayuk, and through also then will go Yuri Bioja.
Bioja through and now into the top 10. Sayuk up 10 positions. That's a great job from him.
On the mediums.
Gained so many spots in the medium tyres. You're right. So, yeah, what a battle this is turning into at the front.
It certainly is.
Well, in the midfield, I should say.
Yeah, it certainly is a great battle, and it will continue here. Sayuk now has got work to do. Has got about 3 seconds to reach Adam Webb just in front. Or now, I would say Adam Webb. It's Tamas Shane now, as the gap is almost 3 seconds now up in front. So there's also been another change for position, and it was a very uncharacteristic mistake from Tamas Shane. Just outbroke himself into one, and suddenly Adam Webb was sweeping through at turn 2 as in comes first taker, lap 12:47, 2-stop central for Anish Mehta.
Yeah, no surprise to see the 2-stop strategy in play, but probably, I would say, 5 laps earlier than we might have likely thought. Probably thinking 16, 16, 15 for pit stops, but I mean, the window's definitely open. Could be potential of going to mediums as well, as this is a very, very cool side-by-side. Jan Stratinski losing out. It's a good little fight of side-by-side, and Maida staying with the Red Wall soft compound tyre.
Yep, very much so. So Jonathan Oshalim then and Hiroyuki Sekaguchi getting by Jan Stratinski as we continue to keep our eyes on Philip Yates, as John Pat Kelly now very firmly in this battle as well. On the back of this group has been posting some very nice lap times, I have to say, on the back of this group. He just did a 1:11.8 as his last lap, which is really, really impressive. 12:1 that time by. John Pat Kelly's got very good pace in the life of these tyres.
He's been a driver that's just been able to make the tyres last, hasn't he? Each and every week we see him, he just somehow makes the tyres hold on and can push them for a lot more than others seem to be able to do. So to see him punching out very, very good lap times towards the end of his stint, no real surprises. Jan Stratinski is now in the pits. He's come in and grabbed some more softs. Going back out again.
Oh, the third.
Beal, yeah.
Kent Nielsen's been struggling over the last 2 laps. Beal has not, and Beal trying to go around the outside of Mahulo. Not the place you get it done, and Nielsen having to take 2 bites of the cherry to go through Jun Sao. He's really struggling right now, and as well, just in front of them is Thomas Bartosic, so not a million miles. Is this a dive for the pits? You bet it is, Sunshine. Kent Nielsen and Bartosic in on lap 13.
Yep, no surprise to see them both in. I clicked the wrong button. I knew I had a camera on the pit lane and I clicked the wrong button. That was clever of me. Tamas Shane also in. But yes, surprised to see Bartosic in, although, as you said, he was starting to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, we just missed it. Sayuk off the road at 1, and that will be a gift for Yuri Bioja going through. We'll catch this one on the Virtual Racing School replay then. See exactly how this incident came to fruition. Completely unforced error, just outbrakes himself into 1. Very easy thing to do when you have such a late apex into a corner like this.
As you said, such a late apex, you're throwing it in from such a wide angle, and very, very hard to pick up your braking marker when you're going at such high speeds too. So the fact that we don't see that more often surprises me more than the fact that we've seen it happen. I think it's amazing that these guys have the talent and skill to not do that as much as I know I would in these cars.
Cedric Beale immediately responds then. He goes down into the lane as we catch our cameras on that now. And it's a very fast pit lane here at Interlagos. It's one of the faster ones on the iRacing service. 72 kilometers an hour you go through here, as Adam Webb also looks to dive down into the pits. On top of that, Philip Yates will also be joining in the fun. So now the question is, where is Beale going to come out in comparison? Well, there's Kent Nielsen at this stage. We focus on another driver making their pit stop. That's Cengiz Kagasuz out there at this stage. So nicely worked stop. And Cedric Beale hasn't lost a million miles on the undercut.
He actually had a long pit stop, did Cedric Beale, about a second longer than Kent Nielsen. So he'll be upset about that. But as you said, he hasn't lost out too badly. His in-lap was very, very strong. So he's still within 3/4 of a second of Kent Nielsen, despite the fact that his pit stop was just over a second longer. And straight out of the pits, his purple sector for the second sector in this circuit on this lap. So very, very quick outlap here, and you can see the gap is starting to close as Matt Wood comes in from the front.
Yep, from the race lead, Matt Wood, lap 16. He goes on to start as he comes in. Reynaldo Augusto will follow, as will Bruno Canavas then, here on 16 of 47. So 31 laps to go. Expect another set of softs to go on the car. And Jin Se-Yuk, no surprises, one of the only drivers to stay out, will not get to lead a lap though, because Matt Wood is already out and away and ahead by a couple seconds. So that is a full pit stops advantage then, which has been generated and puts both of them on even keel between now and the end of this race. There is the F1 Apps car looking to make an exit there. That's Bruno Canavas, teammate of course to Reynaldo Augusto, and he's going to come out right in the clutches of Tamas Shane.
Shane literally just behind, so a good pit stop for Canavas because he's net gained one spot. Because remember, Tamas Shane was behind Adam Webb. He was battling with Adam Webb. You can see just ahead Canavas, the red and black car with the beautiful yellow wheels that always catches me out thinking that he's running mediums. Adam Webb has held on to that spot as he passes Osherlin, and Tamas Shane has lost a spot. Bruno Canavas has gained one.
Yep, of course, Oshalim is yet to come down and make that stop in the number 16 Papaya McLaren machine out there at this moment in time. He's on the soft compound tyre, so he is due to come down in and make a stop at some point, you'd feel. The two-stop definitely the name of the game at this point in time. And Oshalim, he had to think about it there. That was big. Had to think. Had to commit, stay out there, as of course the natural racing line goes over the pit entry line, which makes it very difficult to judge when you're going in or not. But he very clearly had a thought, pit lane, no, I'll save it for next lap.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the fact that he's got close enough to have DRS has made him think, well, geez, I'll stay out and be able to use the DRS and maybe have a positive delta on this in-lap, although his pace is not great in comparison to the guys that he will come out of the pits with. So may not have been a smart call to stay out. He's going to lose two spots here between Canavas and Shane, who both go through, and there was almost contact there between Tamas Shane and Bruno Canavas, because Shane almost outbroke himself and ran into the rear of Canavas.
Easily done. Of course, running that BMW Sauber mock livery is Tamas Shane as he charges through towards now Junsao corner, the junction, and make that charge up the hill once again. Important laps now, these opening laps at this stage, because these are tempo setting style laps when you're on a fresh set of tyres. So we go on board with Oshalim. Will he decide to make that call? No, I think he's staying out long, trying to see if he can convert this to a one-stop strategy potentially.
Tough call to do. I mean, we heard from numerous drivers this week that one stop, while it's possible, is not the ideal strategy, purely based on the fact that your tyre pace drops off. Your tyre life may last, but your pace is just so much slower that it negates any advantage you get from just doing one stop. It's quicker to change an extra set of tyres and run the pace at a faster pace on the better tyres, due to, as you said before, very, very high pit lane speed limit, and a relatively short pit lane as well. It means that the advantage that you get from doing the one stop is very, very minimal at the best of times, and then with the extra pace that you get on the better tyres, means that the one stop is not a viable option. Although one thing that Oshalim's got is he's got some track position. He's out there all on his lonesome. Doesn't have to worry about battles around as Andreas Nielsen comes in for his first proper pit stop in this race.
He certainly does. Lap 19 comes in, Andreas Nielsen looking to make that stop. I do have to note as well that the pit lane speed limit has actually decreased from the last time we were here. It was at 88 kilometers an hour the last time we were here. It's now down to 72. So iRacing over the build have dropped the speed limit by 16 kilometers an hour. So that will be something worth keeping in the back of the mind, iRacing do like a certain set time for transit lane to lane. So ultimately, that means that it's going to be more in line with what we'll see at most other tracks.
Yeah, it was one of those few tracks that did have that higher pit lane speed limit. As it's my turn to jump out of the booth and be joined by a more regular commentator, Fonty. Scott Fountain's jumping in with you.
Oh,
Yes, hello everybody. Sorry I'm late, was caught in London traffic. And, so, yep, rushed home to get here, and great to be here for some F1 action. What an awesome track to be at. Absolutely love the circuit. Certainly one of my favourites on the iRacing service, and yeah, create some great racing. You can see that the regular Matt Wood is out front cleaning up as per usual, and some new names out there as well. It's Berry.
And there's a battle on as Oshalim is in the pits. It's on for second. Sayuk trying to cover this here. As now here comes Bartosic down the inside. Those fresh soft compound tyres compared to those 20-lap-old mediums are not going to put any resistance up. Bartosic up to second, and it will be Freight Train City. Now's the time to strike if you're Kent Nielsen here. Try and get yourself in. And of course, Fonty, I'd have to say, like London Fashion Week, you are fashionably late, but the big key is you're fashionable. Welcome to the party as we get things going. Nielsen wants to get this done quickly.
Yep, exactly right. Yes, no, it's, yeah, I was driving as fast as I could to get here, but trying to get in London's not that easy. Certainly can't go as fast as what these guys are going around the circuit. And yeah, some great racing here tonight, and yeah, it's going to be hard for anybody to catch Matt Wood at this stage. I think he's so dominant and already opened up 4.3 second lead, so this battle for second place though is certainly going to be a great one.
I have to agree with you there as Anish Mehta loses the place outright then, and that looks like a slow Philip Yates looking to get back on the power. So Yates has had a moment there at Jun Sao, and he has had a big off going through the left at a junction corner. Has had to skirt across the grass, which is uphill and off camber as well, and very difficult to keep
here
that
we go.
control.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Kent Nielsen. Making the move sideways action, bit of contact going on there as well. No love lost between these two. He's going to have the inside run for the next turn. I think he's going to be able to get this done.
We're just catching this on the replay. It's in the middle sector where it all goes wrong. And we won't spoil exactly what happens here, but Sayuk fighting on the mediums has brought Cedric Beale completely back into play at this moment in time. And now you start to look at this one. So there's the chance. They're going to be three wide here on the front. Potentially, but live cameras. We're still on the replay here as they go through. So here's the contact. Bang, tyre to tyre as they go through, and ultimately they continue this fight through. Nielsen's finally got the move done, and now Cedric Beale can jump it up towards turn 4 now, has got the move sorted. So there's some more side by side. Nielsen back down the inside then at what was that section, and then the almost 3 wide moment as we can see on screen. Suddenly now it's more 3 wide battling, or 3 car battling I should say. Sayuk's got Renato Augusto now for company.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic, and this is a great performance so far from Kent Nielsen. He's been getting better and better, and this is an outstanding season so far for him. Yeah, Cedric Beale, good to see him right up there. So yeah, this is certainly going to continue to be a great race right through to the end. We're nearly at the halfway stage in this race, and yeah, Matt Wood's absolutely checked out.
Yeah, to the tune of 4.2 seconds as Renato Augusto now on the back. It's worth noting as well that Jan Stratinsky has just lost the place to Cengiz Kagasuz as well down the field, as Sayuk will have to have a little look behind, see exactly how far he can go. On the brakes into 1 once again, and 2, the Senna S, and then the Curva de Sol, the Sun corner, as they go through this very, very difficult left-hander, which leads onto this straight DRS full bore, and Renato Augusto, home soil, down the inside, moves up to P4, chases on now to get back to Beale.
Yep, certainly is, and yeah, 1.5 second gap, so these guys could work together. I think the pace of Augusto is a little bit greater. Come on, yeah, 1.3 seconds faster than Sayuk in sixth place there.
Yep, Sayuk, of course, is on the very old medium compound tyres, will be due in any time around now, really. Lap 23 of this race, halfway. Of course, didn't manage to get a qualifying time in on the board, was dealing with technical issues in qualifying, so ultimately put them back. Now, as we focus here on Cedric Beale, this is the important battle, the podium scrap. Still very much up for grabs, and Cedric Beale normally finds himself running this series, normally finds himself up near the pointy end, has a really good chance against a very resurgent Kent Nielsen this season. Good drive through two, long left of three. Always tough. Watch that DRS just get opened up. Hard to the inside goes Nielsen, then trying to cover it off. Oh. How on earth was there not anything more than that? Nielsen's run slightly wide, and the 7 says, I've given you enough room, but the battle rages on.
Yeah, this will be certainly Nielsen's best performance if he can manage to hold on to this. So he'll not wanting to be hit from behind. And Cedric Beale is normally a pretty clean driver, so maybe just a little mistake there from him. This is also bringing Augusto into the action as well, so he's slowly closing the gap under a second now between him.
Absolutely, and we talk about this at this sort of stage. They don't want an accident, they don't want to be in any trouble, and now Cedric Beale, you feel, is in absolute full focus mode, wanting to get this move, wanting to break through quickly at this stage in towards one. Nielsen running wide, makes a mistake, opens the door up here for Beale on the inside, and that is wonderfully constructed then. We'll get right back in the draft. They've brought Augusto back into this one here in 5th position, but Cedric Beale mark him down as the podium for now.
Yep, certainly can mark him down. He's got some serious pace. Can actually catch if they did manage to touch on that previous moment there between those two cars, but yeah, Nielsen's pace is slightly dropping off. Best overall time for Nielsen is 1:10.9, so he's the second fastest car on the track overall. Wood being the fastest at a 1:10.8. So we'll see how he continues to go on throughout this race. I'm not exactly too sure who's made it stops at this stage, Sperry.
Well, pretty much everyone except Sayuk's made one stop, and they're all due one more yet. So that's going to be what's in the mind. They all pitted quite early. Of course, the tyres have been more susceptible to wear over the builds from now to where they are. So I'd say a softer mix of compound has come in from quote tyre manufacturer here. That's a change for position as well. Through will go, I believe, Jan Stratinsky on Anish Mehta. They're getting it done on the American driver. There, a lovely, lovely move, as it was a Canadian getting past an American there, just for position out on circuit. So more work to be done out there at this stage. Some great battles going on, including the one, the 7th and 8th place. We can have a little focus on that potentially, because this is Bruno Canavas and Adam Webb.
Yep, great battle, certainly heating up between these guys. Webb, a regular in this series. Canavas, also a regular, not quite as much experience as Webb from what I believe. But yeah, some great racing going on here. I really love this circuit. It turns it on every time we come here and watch some racing, and there's plenty of passing opportunities, which is so cool.
Always has been, always will be. Of course, there were talks that a Rio de Janeiro circuit would replace this one. Those have all faded, and Interlagos here to stay, and rightfully so. On board then with Reynaldo Augusto making his run through the big long left of the Curva de Sol here on lap 27 of 47. Expect drivers to think about their pit stop in the next 2 to 3 laps, potentially here, as they think about that final stop to the end. They'll be lighter on their fuel, which means the tyres will be able to go longer out there on this one, and the track, of course, is cooling down considerably. Keep that in mind as well. Those times are going to get quicker and quicker as things go through the Laranjina into the Pinheirinho right now, and over towards the Duxville corner, the Bico de Pato here, as on the brakes they go. all about patience right now, because I give credit to Kent Nielsen. He's keeping within 9/10 to a second of Cedric Beale in front.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just being consistent is key around here. And as you said, yeah, the temperature of the track is really starting to drop. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:20 to be exact, sim time. So the sun's starting to go down. And yeah, the cars will certainly be loving the track temperatures dropping.
Yeah, definitely will do. Only driver yet to stop then is Jin Se-yuk, who is there at the moment in 6th position. Right now, be looking behind pretty soon, because that is Adam Webb and Bruno Canavas closing in at a rate of 7/10 of a
Here we
second
go.
per lap.
Augusto
Has got it done.
Yeah, that was actually quite a bit of an
That's a
interesting
mistake.
move. Yeah, mistake from Nielsen. It certainly didn't look like it was going to get done going into the corner, and then all of a sudden they were side by side. So Nielsen struggling with the car at the stage. Definitely going to need to chuck another set of rubber on it.
Oh, well, you can see, goes through the right, and he just gets totally unsettled through the mid part of the corner. It's almost like he caught the curb wrong. Renato Augusto just drove straight through like he wasn't there, and Kent Nielsen would have got a big shot on his way through. You can see he gets back on. We're going to bring this down into slow-mo. You can see, bang, tyre-to-tyre contact. Renato Augusto was saying, my road, and in comes Kent Nielsen on cue after that. He knows he's got to undercut to get that place back.
Yeah, he saw a big lock-up from him that corner after. So, yeah, the tyres have just said no more. First one of these front guys to jump in the lane. And, yeah, he'll be rapid when he first gets out. So this is a good opportunity for him to really stand his ground. And these guys, the likes of Cedric Beale, Augusto, are going to be certainly wary of him coming in. Got to predict that they'll be in probably this next lap or the lap after.
Definitely looks like it is one of the things we're looking at. We have also lost our second driver from this race, and it's Oisin Richards, who is out, just retired the car, was running a lap down. No real reason to continue. Didn't see any retirements on the horizon. But we focus here on Jin Se-yuk, on Adam Webb, on Bruno Canavas, and 29 laps on this set of mediums is mightily impressive at this moment from Se-yuk, who knows he's got to get this one going all the way to the end, if it is indeed possible. Bartosic is now in the lane from second. Beale is in the lane from third. And finally, in comes Jin Se-yuk as well to make his first stop of the day.
Yep, there we go. So, yeah, good effort from him. 30 laps on that set of tyres. Will he chuck on a set of softs now to finish it off?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that will definitely be the case. So it's going to be interesting to see
Ooh.
where... Oh, there we go. He'll be disappointed with that. Missed his
Still
box.
missed it. Too far left. This is painful. I know exactly what that feeling's like on a SimSpeed broadcast before. It's not nice when that happens. And finally, he's off and away. It is. It's very embarrassing, especially when you've got Jay Kennedy laughing in your ears.
Yes, exactly right. And frustrating, especially when you're having a good run. In the heat of the moment, you can very easily make a mistake in the lane and do that. This battle though with Nielsen and the other guys. So Beale is in front of Nielsen. Come out of the lane. There's 1.5 seconds separating those two guys now. So the battle, that's going to be interesting. And as Augusto goes for another lap around, he's going to need to really consider if that's a good option. Still punching out good times at a 1:11.8 that last time by. So still very fast out there. And the likes of Nielsen and Beale are going to certainly have to put their foot down here.
Yep, certainly will. Adam Webb into the lane, out of the lane, back and away again as we focus there on Kent Nielsen. There is Adam Webb, and that is not a million miles away. Now watch Webb and Canavas here. They're going to be side by side as they make their charge forward. It's going to be Canavas who gets ahead, but crucially for... sorry, no, that's Andreas Nielsen even. So that is Andreas Nielsen, who, remember, went very long on his first stint. So I think Andreas Nielsen here has himself a real option to get himself a very aggressive last stop. But looking at things right now, has Adam Webb potentially played himself into a potential top 5 if all things go wrong in front with Augusto needs to make a stop as race leader Matt Wood comes in?
Yeah, well, potentially there's Barry. He's got some great pace at the moment, 1:11.3, so faster than Nielsen on his first flying lap on that new set of tyres. Interesting to see what Cedric Beale manages to punch up, but yeah, I can certainly see a great battle closing down on those last few laps as we just roll over lap 32. Kelly in the lane.
Long hold. Reynaldo Augusto's been caught speeding on the lane. Just like that, the race goes away for Reynaldo Augusto, a driver who has got so much talent underneath him, but somehow continues to find a way to not get the result that's wanted. As into the pits goes Cengiz Kaygasus, then to make a stop just like that. That is how frustrating this series can be. One small mistake, you get caught on the gun, and just like that, 40 seconds can be chalked off bye-bye.
That 40 seconds feels like a lifetime. I think we've all made the mistake speeding in the lane, and yeah, especially when you're going so well like he was. And he's in the wall. He's speeding out the pit. He's gone out the pit lane, and the rear end's come around, and that is race done for Reynaldo Augusto. Wow, he'll be absolutely kicking himself now. What a disappointing end to such a great race for him.
Compounded errors, that won't help nobody, and this is one of the toughest pit exits to get out because you've got to take 3 corners here, and you're on a knife's edge as you try and put the power down. He tries to go through the back, steps out. He's immediately up and over. What a helter-skelter of a ride as he deals with the Armco barriers, and that is a case of cold tyres, trying to put too much into them. Not enough slip yet as you go on through. So that is Reynaldo Augusto out. Meanwhile, teammate Bruno Canavas still struggling to find a way past Andreas Nielsen.
Certainly is. Just sitting there playing the game, waiting for a mistake, and yeah, driving really well at the stage. Times are starting to come down. Fastest car on track. Cedric Beale has done a 1:10.7, even faster than our race leader. I'm sure Matt Wood will come out of the pit lane though and absolutely smash it, as he's just gone past his first flying lap, 1:10.9. So if Beale can manage to keep up that pace and Bud Hossick makes any sort of mistake, I'm going to see a battle on for second place. And Kent Nielsen though, not quite at the pace of Cedric Beale.
Not quite the pace as well. I'm still trying to work out what happened to Adam Webb. He came in once again looking for another stop. Didn't look like there was any damage or anything, or if he was speeding on the exit. So it looks like, at least for Adam Webb, he maybe didn't get the service that he needed at the stops, and just like that, his day done. There is Andreas Nielsen, by the way, who's just come in, made his final stop of the day. I'll be off and away again. There is Adam Webb, currently in 15th position on this race right now. Started today in 14th, and there is Andreas Nielsen out and away, just behind Jonathan Oscherlein, then in 11th place in this one. So credit to Oscherlein, one of the last takers, the soft drivers as well, so making a stop, doing a pretty decent job. Probably has to come in and stop one more time, but this race starting to really open out at this moment here, with everybody trying to figure out exactly where their place is. This is one of the closest battlers out on track, and Jonathan Oscherlein, of course, on an older set, soft compound, compared to those really, really fresh new ones that Andreas Nielsen is on. The chances there, it's time to pounce, and it will come after the junction corner of Junsao, if not earlier.
Yeah, certainly will. Just taking a look at this battle with Adam Webb all over the back of the car in front there, and he can get this move done pretty quickly, I would think.
Wouldn't put your house on it just yet. I'd say that much, as Oscherlein dives into the pits for his last stop of the day. Cengiz Kaygasus doing a really good job, actually, of keeping Adam Webb at bay. But there goes Webb, going at almost 340 on that straight into one. That is sold, and that's why I am not someone that you would trust in terms of, I wouldn't say it's over just yet, because the move was wonderfully concocted there by Adam Webb.
shouldn't put your house on the very much. Yeah, great move there from Webb, and yeah, such an awesome turn one. This track, yeah,
Yep. So
I absolutely love this circuit. Sorry, Spiro, I just finished off. Yeah, it's turn one is so difficult to get right. You can easily overshoot it in a touring car. Yeah, 3 wide into that corner happens so often. We've already seen it tonight in the open wheelers, but yeah, the fast flow of this track is, honestly, whoever designed this circuit needs a pat on the back.
I will go find that out for you in a little bit, but this battle continues on for 8th and 9th. We were talking about maybe a few tech issues out there for one driver, not quite ideal. But remember, Sayuk's on the softs now, looking to challenge John Pat Kelly for a really underrated 8th place at this moment. John Pat Kelly has not made a single move on any driver all day. They've seen every other driver make trouble in some way, shape or form, and he's getting rewarded for it. Sayuk trying to look up the inside at Ferradura. Not the most traditional place to make a move, but Sayuk, he'll have to wait for the entirety of the middle sector now.
Yep, certainly will. Great drive. Plenty of pressure on John Pat Kelly. Real regular in the series in John Pat Cup. I think I've ever done a broadcast where he hasn't been there, to be honest. Yeah, great rally going on there, and certainly that first set of rubber. Second fastest car. No, fastest car on the third fastest. There we go.
I can officially confirm I have no idea of Sayuk down the inside at 1. The center S is Jin Sayuk, so he gets it done. I have no idea who designed this circuit. I've just taken a little look on Wikipedia, and it just says that they built the track to base it on the Roosevelt Field Raceway from 1937. This track built in 1940, and it was going to be housing originally, but the crash on 1929 put an end to that in terms of effort there. But that's a little bit of the history lesson done around Interlagos. At least for the moment, it has been a clean race out in front of this field for Matt Wood. 7 seconds to the good over Thomas Bartosic, and you'd say for Matt Wood, this has been a comfortable drive. This has been the sort of drive he's been looking for a very long time.
Yes, and we often see that in the series, domination by one driver, and really had the pace. We see a bit of bad luck happen for Matt Wood on a regular basis, so hopefully I don't put the commentator's curse on him tonight. He is driving a fantastic race. 7.6 seconds out in front to Thomas Bartosic, and then Cedric Bell doing such a great job tonight. I'm very impressed with his performance, as well as Kent Nielsen. So he's been improving over the seasons that I've been covering this series, and great to see him right up there.
Absolutely. I tell you what, Adam Webb is on an absolute charge. Next up, Hiroyuki Sakaguchi. Lowest iRating in the field here for Hiroyuki. Very tough as well for Japanese drivers to take a start to this race. It's about 4 a.m. Tokyo time. The start of this race, it'll be moving up towards 5 o'clock in the morning, around there. So not the easiest start time. But I give you a bit of credit here. Hiroyuki Sakaguchi has hung in strong, has gained 3 places through this race. 3 places gained through the 3 retirements. Renato Augusto, Oshin Richards and Klaus Siemens.
For me to be able to make a race at that time, I'd probably have to do an all-nighter. But yeah, good effort for him, and yeah, fantastic pace. Some great iRating. Car number 4 out there. So good to see Japanese drivers running with us.
It's very nice to see that, absolutely. But Adam Webb again closing up here with 9 laps to go. What a lunge! Oh, beautifully done. I'm not sure how much of that was I am letting you go. Adam Webb apologising. I think he missed his braking point and turned it into a move.
I'm going to go and have to have a look at this one and see what's happened.
Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Goes from a mile away. Steals it down the inside. Doesn't even lock up the fronts. Apologises on the radio through turn 3. I don't think he meant that one, but he'll take it nevertheless. That's move of the race.
Yep, fantastic move. And yeah, back up to P12 for Adam Webb. So that is our closest battle on track at this stage, and yeah, just spreading out throughout the field. John Pat Kelly, 1.4 seconds behind the car in front of him.
Yeah, so that's the work that's being done. Thomas Bartosic, very, very good second place from him so far at this moment. Cedric Beale there in third. Can't quite do what Julien Alaphilippe did today in the first stage of the Tour de France and win the race, but a podium he'll certainly take. Kent Nielsen there in fourth position at this moment in time. But give credit to Bartosic actually there in P number 2 at the moment with Canavas in 5th place. Bartosic has really had a quietly underrated performance. Got away with Matt Wood early, built a gap early with Matt Wood. Yes, has fallen away in comparison, but you take the points. Bartosic was right up there in the championship last season through consistency, and he's looking to prove so again to this season.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it is about consistency. To finish first you have to finish. And yeah, certainly great drive from him tonight. Hasn't put a foot wrong, just like Matt Wood. Some really cool battles that we saw early on in this race, and it's just starting to open up with 6 laps to go now.
Yeah, not long to go in this race, and it's been one of, I would say, full attention on who can go quick and who can get what and who can manage the gaps between right now. For example, Tamas Shane in 6th position, only 2 seconds back of Bruno Canavas, but Canavas is matching every stage of the way, lap for lap, pace for pace, as we focus on. There is Canavas, and you'll see just behind, just flicking into the frame there on the right, one Mr. Tamas Shane, and Tamas as well has had a really good race today. Started 8th, up into P6, has just been quietly whittling away, trying to find a ways to make something happen here against Bruno Canavas, and just hasn't quite been able to get close enough to make it happen. 1.9 seconds is good, but Canavas is very much equal.
Yep, you're exactly right. And this track is, because of how much runoff area there is, it is quite forgiving. We are following Tam Shane at the moment. There in 6th position. There's, yeah, at the fast areas of the track, there is an opportunity if you do make a mistake to be able to collect it and keep the car going. There's a we go through.
Yeah, and also on a charge through the field is Jin Se-yuk. Keep an eye on this one. This is the scrap for 7th place on the road. Se-yuk eyes fully wide. He looks to try and challenge Yuri Bioja, the Swiss driver in the number 19 machine, who's also going to get a huge points haul in terms of his iRacing and safety rating, and try and get that one all sorted. But Se-yuk, from 19th on the grid, be racing for P7 through some very, very clever strategy. Only driver take the medium tyres. I think he's deserved this one. He has done so well.
Yeah, certainly like this very driver of the night for sure. And yeah, got to be happy with that pace that he's had and the overall result. I think he's definitely going to be able to get this move done.
I don't think Bioja's making this difficult. He's there past left in the in-game communication. Left off of it before they even reach turn number 1. Bioja knows what his race is all about, keeping it on the island.
Yep, that's what it is. Exactly right. 4 laps left. And yeah, Adam Webb charging down Philip Yates here. 0.4 of a second separating him. So see a move on in the next corner, I would think.
You would. He's got DRS to help him to that next corner. Philip Yates, of course, has had one off today in this race down at Junsao corner, so maybe a chance of vulnerability around that as they go through. You'd also say at this stage that Philip Yates might be, in the eyes of Adam Webb, very vincible. Not invincible, vincible.
Exactly right. He'll battle it through to the end, 3 laps to go. Gonna certainly try and make it as hard as possible for him. And, there we go. Opened up a little bit. back nearly to a second, so I'm not going to give it up at all to Adam Webb. But yeah, our front three are certainly checked out, and it's just a cruise home for certainly the first half of the field.
Yeah, and it's also worth keeping an eye on the battle right down at the very back as well, with Oshalim and Stratinsky, the 15th and 16th, just behind them. Hello, I'm the race leader. My name is Matt Wood. I would like to lap both of you. Please don't fight too much, please. And just like that, there's also Kagashas onto the back of Sekaguchi. So it seems like everyone's fighting their own little battle to go and concern themselves with in the final stages of these races. And now you start wondering here, if you're Matt Wood, how much risk do you want to take with an 8.3 second gap?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You don't want to be taking any risk. And you could just comfortably cruise home here, even if we didn't make that move. But seeing Bruno Cannavassis, he is slightly closing on Nielsen. So this could be a battle if Nielsen starts to lose any more pace. Last lap by for Nielsen was still quite quick at a 1:11.3, but Cannavassis closing down very slowly.
Slowly but surely, the gap is now 2 seconds, so work to be done as once more we focus on the race leader, and I think Oshalim is just about to... Oh! Stratinsky has a huge moment through Mahulo. Off on a corner that gets overlooked at how difficult it is, and Stratinsky giving the race leader and championship leader an almighty scare going through that section. Let's catch this on the virtual racing score replay, because this came out of complete left field. So going through, it's all looking nice and okay for the Canadian driver. Going up to the Bico de Pato looks pretty standard going through, but then it's through this next left, which it just goes, and he's on the curb, back steps out. Great committal there by Oshalim. He is so lucky he's still got a car.
Wow, that was so close, and they did have slight contact. Millimetre difference, and I reckon it could have been all over for him. And Matt Wood might have turned down the back there, because he could have very easily been caught up in that one.
Very easily, but that is the mark of a champion. You sometimes need a little bit of luck to go your way, and I would say it did in that scenario. Just a handful of laps remaining in this race, if not heading to the last.
Yep, here we go. Bruno closed the gap, 1 second separating himself and Nielsen with 2 laps to go now. I think that this battle is going to be on.
Yep.
Nielsen is losing pace in comparison to Bruno, and he's within range now to really take advantage of that slipstream.
Yep. Certainly is, and you're now starting to see it here. Last lap starts for Matt Wood at the front, but this one we continue to focus on Cannavas looking to really attack here against Kent Nielsen. That gap just under a second, but he needs to get that all in a lap, and that will be tough to do. He will be having to rely on the fact that Nielsen was very early to come in with his tyres. He's hoping they hit a proverbial cliff. He took 7/10 at last time out, but he needs a bit more, and he's already closed about half of it here, heading towards turn number 4. A good middle sector will mean this is a drag race over towards the line in the fight for 4th place, for best of the rest honours as they go through. So up the hill towards the Laranjina, always an opportunity. Up the hill, though, goes Matt Wood, who's had a completely dominant display. Was challenged a bit earlier by Bartosic, but not only is it back-to-back, it is brilliancies from Matt Wood. He did the very best he possibly could. Bartosic will take second, Beal will take third, and the scrap going on for P4. Nielsen's got a bit of a margin still. I'm not sure if Cannavas has got enough here to close this down. He's got to find 4 car lengths, if that. And once again, Kent Nielsen survives to tell the tale. A great 4th place.
Oh yeah, great battle there. Another lap might have been a different story. John Pat Kelly slightly closing. He's not going to be close enough either. Is Adam Webb going to be able to make a last-minute move as they approach the last corner? He is close enough, but I don't think he's got enough pace to get it with the speed of these cars and how little slipstream they do kind of have. They don't really.
Oh, he got close.
Not like touring cars anyway. We see very close battles going over the line.
Yeah, got it within a tenth. Not enough. Official classified results then up on the screen for you. Matt Wood picking up back-to-back victories, 56 minutes, 26 seconds. Gets it done by 8.3 over Thomas Bartosic in second position. Cedric Beale rounding out the podium there with a very nice +1 for his day. Kent Nielsen finishes off in fourth position, does the Canadian, with Bruno Canavas then rounding out the top 5 on home soil virtually. Tamas Jene will take 6th ahead of Jin Se-yuk then in 7th, and Yuri Bioja in 8th place overall. John Pat Kelly will get 9th position, a very, very solid drive from John, often a stalwart of this series, and then up 10 places of his own, Andreas Nielsen into the top 10. Worth noting that Se-yuk, the biggest mover and shaker in the field, gained 12 places here today. Philip Yates finishes off in 11th place, not without dramas, -1 for the day. Had a little bit of an adventure over at Junsao with Adam Webb. An extra stop today means it's P12 for the number 5 machine. Cengiz Kagashus then gets 13th with Hiroyuki Sekaguchi in 14th, the last of the finishers on the leading lap. Jonathan Oshalim, after that huge scare late, has Jan Stratinsky to thank for that extra place, 15th and 16th, with Anish Mehta finishing off in P17. And then your 3 retirements from today. Reynaldo Augusto, of course, in dramatic fashion after feeding in the lane, the compound fracture that was exiting the pits being a huge disaster. Oshin Richards running a lap down, deciding it's not for him, to retiring the car. And then Klaus Siemetz, then the first retirement in this race, started off in P3, and it all went downhill for the German driver in this one. Well, the focus now will be on to where next, and it is one of the most famous places we're heading to on this one going forward, mirroring the Austrian Grand Prix next week and the Styrian Grand Prix this week. Fonty, first look here with us at SimSpeed TV at the fabled Red Bull Ring.
Yep, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see these cars go around there, and what an awesome circuit to join the service. I've been waiting a long time. I expected it to come at some stage, and yeah, we've had some pretty cool tracks and content come to iRacing in the last few builds, as we always do every season, but the Red Bull Ring's certainly going to turn it on next week.
It certainly is. The only place you can catch that is with us here at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance already, no matter where you're watching, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe here on YouTube for more amazing content brought to us here by SimSpeed TV. And if you are here right now, wherever you are, be it morning, noon, night, tune in tomorrow morning or later on today, wherever you are, because Scops is heading to Watkins Glen, and I heard there is a Richie Stanaway in the field for that one, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled on that. Join Reese and myself for it. But a massive thanks, of course, has to go to the iRacing Open Wheel community who have brought together this series and brought it to us here at SimSpeed TV. From the replays brought to you by the Virtual Racing School, with all sorts of amazing sim racing coaches available on that platform. That is the place to be if you want to get a little bit quicker with one-to-one coaching. And on top of that, the team here today, from Jay Kennedy, Scott Fountain, myself, Jake Sperry. A pleasure once again, but Matt Wood, not without the shock and the scare late on, has found himself to a comfy finish. Take a victory once more. It's back-to-back, and this is his championship to lose at this point. The difference maker, though, is going to be what will happen next time at a brand new circuit. Nobody's got any data or any form for that place, and it's one which is traditionally very good at finding overtakes. We'll see you over in Austria for the 3rd round of the iRacing Grand Prix Series.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh
him.
my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?